Hey guys, this is Podfic, and today we're going to be reading I'll Feel the Sickness Less and Less by Kit for Now. The summary is, I think the pit put me back together wrong. Or maybe the league did something to me before I woke up. I'm not interested in any of it. Sounds to me like you're asexual. Tim says, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. Sounds to me like I'm unlovable, Jason argues, mostly because he doesn't know what that last word Tim said was, but also partially because it's true. Tim scoffs, and while Jason is still looking down at the street below, he can feel that Tim's eyes have shifted to him. Alright, without further ado, let's hop right in. Jason hears Tim before he sees him, which is impressive given how quiet Tim usually is. Maybe it's all that bat training that Jason has had, or maybe Tim just wanted to be heard. Probably the latter, considering how deep in thought Jason has been for the last hour and a half. His mask is off at his side, and the cold rooftop wind blows through his hair and freezes the tips of his hair. It feels nice, keeps him from disassociating too much. I'm not in the mood to talk, Jason says gruffly, because it's true. Tim steps closer and he sits down on Jason's right side, following his lead and letting his feet dangle off the roof. They must be 20 stories up, but Jason isn't worried. They've trained to catch themselves if they fall. Tim is in his garderobe asleep, but pulls off his cowl. What are you doing? Jason grumbles. I said I didn't want to talk. Tim shrugs. We don't have to talk. Jason lets him stay. Tim really doesn't say anything at all. Jason leans forward, looking down at the street. Shoulders hunched, hands folded in his lap. But Tim sits back on his hands, looking up at the stars. Jason wonders absent-mindedly if that means something. I broke up with Roy today, Jason admits quietly, after maybe half an hour of this has passed. To Tim's everlasting credit, he didn't ask what happened. How are you doing? He asks instead. It's whatever, Jason answers with a shrug. Had to happen eventually. It's true, but Jason wishes it weren't. Because it's been 7 hours and he already misses his boyfriend so much that it takes the air out of his lungs. Not that he'd ever admit that out loud. Want to talk about it? Tim asks eventually. No. They fall into silence again. Once again, Jason is the one to break it. It's been a couple of months, of putting it off. And he was really nice about waiting, too, to do anything. The fact that Jason is saying this out loud is a testament to how close he and Tim have gotten. Tim's kind of the only person in the family Jason really fully trusts, which is crazy. But Tim has always kept his mouth shut whenever Jason does something that he could have ratted him out for. Even took the fall a couple of times for something Jason did wrong because he knew Bruce would be a little more lenient with him. Not that Bruce isn't forgiving to Jason, he is, and God knows Jason hasn't exactly earned it. Switching to rubber bullets didn't exactly wipe the blood off his hands, and most of it he'd do over again anyway. It's the lack of regret that always tangles up their relationship, Jason and Bruce, Jason and Dick, because Damien and Cass had killed too, but they hated that they have. They were forced to, taught to, trained to, but Jason has no excuse, and no such regret. Well, he regrets almost killing Tim, so maybe that counts for something. Anything? Tim prompts. Anything, Jason makes an awkward ugh noise in the back of his throat, annoyed that he has to say it out loud. Sexually? Okay, Tim says, falling at last. I don't know what I was waiting for, Jason admits, just never seemed like... He trailed off and they returned into silence. But this time it's the sort of silence that only gives Jason space to think 1,000 miles a minute. Never seemed like the right time, the right activity, the right person? Except that last one can't be true, because Roy feels more like Jason's person than anyone else in the world. Jason feels so at home beside him, safe and known in a way he just can't be with anyone else. Roy is just one of those people that everyone gravitates to without realizing, a lot like Oliver in that way. Roy had pulled Jason into his orbit, and Jason had never been so quietly grateful, and for a while, that was enough. Until it wasn't. Until they'd fall asleep in bed, fully clothed but cuddling. And Roy would wake up with a hard-on, and Jason was so repulsed by the idea of it that he kind of wanted to throw up. He likes holding Roy's hand. Jason likes leaning his head on Roy's shoulder when they watch TV. He likes the little kisses Roy gives him on his forehead or on his temple. So Jason clearly likes being touched, so there isn't an excuse that makes sense why he doesn't want more. I think the pit put me back together wrong, or maybe the league did something to me before I woke up. Like, I'm not interested in any of it. Forget fucking, man. I can't even pretend to want to give my own boyfriend a hand to help out, let alone anything else. Roy had never asked for a handjob or a blowjob, but Jason had always been pretty obvious with turning down any advances the other made in general. So probably Roy is being his usual obnoxiously patient self and waiting Jason out. Was it like that before you died? Tim asks. I don't know, man. I was 15, Jason lies. Because the real answer is yes. But if he admits that it was yes, then it isn't the pit, and it isn't the league, and that would mean that it's just Jason. Jason, who already has so much wrong with him as it is. Sounds to me like you're asexual, Tim says, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. Sounds to me like I'm unlovable, Jason argues, mostly because he doesn't know what that last word Tim said was, but also partially because it's true. Tim scoffs, and while Jason is still looking down at the streets below, he can feel that Tim's eyes have shifted to him. Not being interested in sex doesn't make you unlovable, man, Tim replies. You can still love and be loved just as much. Yeah, right, Jason rolls his eyes. A beat passes. I love you, Tim offers quietly. Jason rolls his eyes again, scoffing. What, you think it's different because we're family? It's not. It's really not. Shut up, asshole. No, 'cause I think you need to understand. So I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna sit there and listen. Tim's gaze returns to the sky, dark and smoggy as it is. I miss when you're gone. It makes me happy when you smile or laugh, rare as it is. I like sitting in silence with you. You're the only person I can do that with. Whether it's just you waiting for me to talk or the other way around or neither of us got shit to say, it's comfortable. And I love it. And I am proud of you. Of the person you are working to be, of the things you overcome, of the way you have chosen to forgive people that don't always deserve it. This trust we've built is bone deep. We can go days or weeks without talking, but I know that if I called, you'd answer. And if I needed help, you'd be there in a second. And you better believe me if I say that you fell off this earth, I'd be at the bottom first to make sure you got down safe and sound. That's love, dumbass. You are loved, and therefore you are lovable. Whatever your sexuality, and you can still like Roy, or love Roy, or just want to kiss him and do nothing else. Or not even that. And however Roy feels about that is a reflection on him, not you. A beat. Asshole. For the first time all night, Jason looks over at Tim. You know I tried to kill you once, Jason reminds him. I remember, Tim answers, raising a brow. I trust you with my life. Oddly, Jason feels a sort of relief wash over him. Sure, Jason apologized once or twice when he first started returning to the manor. And Tim was weirdly cool about the whole thing, but maybe he'd still felt a little nervous about the whole thing, like he was waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're my secret favorite, Jason replies, looking up at this guy. Don't tell Dick. Cool. It's nice to be someone's favorite, Tim jokes, and Jason wonders how much of that actually is a joke. You should tell Roy. Jason is shaking his head before Tim can even finish that sentence. No way. Look, dumbass, I can see the way that idiot looks at you. At the very least, he deserves an explanation for why you're dumping him. He deserves the chance to make that choice for himself. You're already losing him, man. Might as well find out if there's a good reason for it. It's too late. I was a jerk to him this morning. No, Tim gasped, voice dripping in sarcasm. You? Acting prickly when you're scared or hurt? Jason, that's someone like you. Shut the fuck up, Jason warns. But it doesn't sound very much like a threat. Tim chuckles. Apologize, explain, see where you land. If it goes horribly, I'll buy you ice cream and we can watch those shitty old movies you like, even though they're literally the worst. Jason thinks on this for a moment. Look, asexuality is a real thing. It's a part of you and your identity, and that means it's... Shit, what's the word? Tim trails off, sounding annoyed. Fuck. It starts with a V, synonym to real. Shit, Jay, what's the word? How am I supposed to know? You're the one talking. You're obsessed with books. You know words, Tim argues. Valiant, variable, Jason lists off. Synonym for like real or true or valid? Jason guesses, and he knows even before Tim reacts that it's the right one. Tim snaps his finger excited. Yes! Did you do that on purpose to make me say it? No, Tim laughs a little. But that's genius. I'll remember that for the next time you're having a crisis. Jason rolls his eyes, but he's sort of glad he said it. Valid. Asexuality. He's learning all sorts of things today. Guess I better go talk to Roy, Jason admits after a while. He doesn't want to lose him. He might lose him anyway. Guess he might as well try. Something like hope bubbles up in his chest, and he squashes it down because he knows better by now. The two stand up stretching. Love you, dumbass, Tim says as they depart. Jason stays silent. You can't say it, can you? Tim teases. No, Jason replies. But you know I do, yeah? Gross. Get out of here, loser, Tim teases, and Jason flips him off. Tim laughs loud and unabashed, puts on his cowl again and jumps off the roof, grappling to the next. Jason rolls his eyes and sighs. He gathers up all his courage, which doesn't feel like nearly enough, and scales down the building. He finds his bike and drives to Roy's apartment. Alright guys, and that is the end of I'll Feel the Sickness Less and Less by Ket for now. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next video.